All right, welcome to the pod. Hi, everybody. It's Wednesdays. That means TLC Talk. I'm your host, Sarah Fraser, huge TLC fan, longtime TLC fan, longtime podcaster, radio personality, and many TLC stars have been on my show, from Olivia Plath, if you love her, to Big Ed, if you love or hate Big Ed. Whatever. I've had them all. And unlike Drew Barrymore, despite the backlash, I don't pull the clips, okay? I do my research. I know who's going to be on, and I don't pull the clips. No offense to Drew. I love my girl, Drew. And Ross Matthews, who's a huge 90 Day Fiancé star. They just had Angela Deem on their talk show this month, and like they had crazy backlash, and they pulled the clip. I mean, come on. Ross, come on. You know what's going to happen. Leave the clip up. You want to have the guest on, stand by it. Ugh. Anyway, we got a lot to cover. I told you I was going to give you a full breakdown of Meri Brown from Sister Wives, her first exclusive interview with my friend Rachel Uchitel on the Misunderstood podcast. I'll tell you all the big highlights and what people are still talking about. I also told you this week that I was going to do more of a recap on Kody Brown's nephew, who is now, he's been on TikTok for a hot minute. He's a comedian. He's also outs the polygamous community. So everybody is talking about him. I'm going to tell you about his TikTok, what he's planning for season 19. And then Kody Brown forgets to wish one of his children a happy birthday, which is causing, of course, more backlash towards Kody and Robin, which continues. So we have that to get to. And then doubling down with the Derricos. Deon and Karen have filed for divorce and finalized their divorce super quick, without a lot of people knowing, hit the press over the past week. And it reminded me that a lot has gone on with the Derricos that people have slid in my DMs about over the years. And I just thought I would recap some of the scandals that have been involved with this family if you are watching the show. And I guess we'll see what happens if they continue to be on television after this bombshell divorce. Let me drink my soluble fiber Citrusel. This is not sponsored, by the way. I just have gastric issues. So long show today because I have a ton of tea to get to. Let's start with some of the quick hits, and then we'll get into Sister Wives, and I'll give you the big breakdown. I got my notes today. That's how deep dive it is for the Derricos. I mentioned Angela Brown being on Drew Barrymore's show. That appearance was June 17th. Immediately after, they posted teasers on Drew's Instagram, on YouTube, and those clips were pulled because of such extreme backlash. I don't think Drew watches the show. Ross Matthews is a huge 90 Day fan. I love Ross. I have met Ross at Fox 5 DC years ago. Legendary comedian who really got his start on Jay Leno's talk show. Ross is hysterical, and they are such a great pair together. Well, he brought on Angela. He's clearly a fan. And the big, I guess, news from that clip, now, of course, it wasn't live, was taped prior, is that Angela Deem says that she and Michael are still together. Y'all, if after all this BS with him running away and her going live and all this bullshit about her abusing him, and then come to find out there were text messages that he was using her to get here to the United States and get a green card. If all that shit happened and these two are still together, I'm giving up on 90 Day Fiancé. Okay, I can't say that because I'll eat my words. But honey, what? She says on the show, we don't know when the show was actually taped. A month ago? Was it 2 months ago? It's hard to say. But she makes that revelation on Drew Barrymore's show. As I mentioned, the clips were pulled because Drew got such incredible backlash. Why do people dislike Angela? If you guys follow my podcast, you obviously know this. People dislike her so much because she's appeared so abusive towards Michael on camera. And everyone, which is the truth, says if this were a man doing this to a woman, there is no way we would allow this on TV. It'd be stalking. It'd be harassment. I mean, people would be livid knowing what women have lived through with domestic violence. And so many men do too. And Michael was an example of that. Now, I have said this. I've had sources very close to Angela and the 90 Day franchise say to me that Angela has gotten a shitty edit for years and that Michael's always been a snake. He has cheated on her, which we know is true. He got a blowy from some chick a while ago, and that he has always been using her. always, always. And it did just come out on Happily Ever After. It's true. There were text messages, all that. So now people are very divided. Angela's getting a lot of support from people that were like, okay, it doesn't excuse why she treated him so horribly and like, destroying his car, all these things that obviously if a man had done to a woman, people would have major issues with. But they're fan favorites on the show. Angela initially said she wouldn't be back on the 90 Day Fiancé franchise. Now it looks like she might. My sources have been very mum on what was going on behind the scenes at Drew Barrymore and if Angela is confirmed for another show. But they are two of the highest paid Michael and Angela cast members on 90 Day. So they bring in the viewers. People are clearly fascinated by them. And more than ever, people are divided whether Angela has redeemed herself, that it's clear that Michael has been scheming a bit. So there you have it. Shout out to Amanda Wilhelm that's been on my podcast. If you remember Amanda and Rosvin before the 90 days. And Amanda tragically lost her husband to cancer. She has 2 kids. She came on my podcast with Scott Warren. They were there was rumors were they together? They cleared it up on the podcast that they were not. And now she is engaged to her man, Joel. So Joel is super hot. He's down there in Miami. They are gorgeous together. And I don't really know now what the point of the Scott Warren thing was. I guess some publicity and fun, I think, was their point. She's now engaged. She looks very happy. People have a lot of opinions on her as well. Did she rush into this engagement way too soon? Well, we'll see because they're engaged. They're not married. They've not announced a wedding date or anything. So let's see how it all goes down. Let's move on to, the other thing that people were hitting me up about when I was on vacation is Josh Cedar from Bachelorette. Josh Cedar. Oh, he's back. Now he's trans. So this has brought up so many different feelings from people. First of all, I can tell you right now, you should always be who you are. Always, always, always. Nothing is worse. One of the lowest depths of misery is living your life as something that you're not. I have friends in 2024 to this day who are gay and are not out. It is so sad. It's so hard because mostly from their parents. Their parents are uber religious. They don't want to let their parents down. There's so much family guilt there. And they continue to sabotage their lives and themselves. So be who you are. If I can say anything, you will find your community. Okay. I'm such a huge proponent of that. Josh Cedar has announced that he's trans, and he says that he's not getting the support that he thought he would, but he doesn't give a fuck also. He says the trans or the LGBTQ community has been some of the worst people on his social media. There are certain gatekeepers in the community that have done nothing but trash him. Now, Josh Cedar is Josh, let me just say this to you, okay? If you are trans, be yourself. That is what everybody wants, right? And I'm the first person to say nothing. Live who you authentically are. But Josh has zero credibility. That's why this is a story that continues to get talked about and why people in not just the LGBTQ community, but straight community fans are shitting on him because they're like, dude, you faked your own death, allegedly, a few months ago. The guy slid into Natalie Mortzadova, who you all know from 90 Day Fiancé, Happily Ever After. He wanted to concoct a scheme with her to try to get them back on Bachelor or Bachelorette franchises. Josh, you've got no credibility, my friend. I'm sorry. He did a death hoax and then said he was hacked. Ain't nobody believing that. And the internet went bananas. Bananas. He's tried to hook up with other 90 Day Fiancé people. He's sort of toyed with this. I'm gay, I'm straight, I'm bisexual. Okay, fine. It's just that it's so many things. Well, he says now that he is, in fact, truly trans. He's living his authentic self. He says that part of the reason for his highs and lows is because he's been wrestling with his transgender female identity. And so now he's trans. He's posted pictures on his social media to his nearly 1 million followers saying that he, loves being his authentic self now. I should say she. She went on to, okay, I say all this. I go, be yourself. He's trans. Okay, well, whoops, it's she. Now he identifies as she, her pronouns. Okay. She went on to share that she had, quote, projected the image of a strong masculine son and brother to the world, but no longer wanted to hide her true self. While Cedar received an outpouring of support from fans at the time, the tide has shifted in the recent weeks, with many accusing the Bachelorette alum of faking her transition for clout and sympathy. Quote, he's sick, or she is sick for doing it for attention, one follower raged, while another wrote, this has to be a social experiment to see our reactions. So time will tell. I mean, look, I will say this because I do stand by this. The girl has no fucking credibility. So if it turns out like this isn't who she really is, I think this is it. Like we're a very forgiving society. We're an understanding for society, but this is like fucking enough. Like too many, you've gone to that well, you've cried wolf too many times. So hopefully she is great. 37 years old, living her authentic self now as a trans woman. Josh Cedar. Did she announce what her new name is? Or is she still going with Josh? I don't know. I'll keep you posted. I believe we'll hear more from her. I don't think that we're done. Something about it says that we'll hear from her. Before I get into doubling down with the Derricos, the controversy over the years that has been brought to the surface again, and Sister Wives Tea, I want to thank two sponsors. First of all, I want to thank Dr. Wilhelm with Horizon Fibroids. 80% of us ladies will have a fibroid by the age of 50. Heavy periods, long periods, and women are actually getting blood and iron transfusions monthly because their fibroids are so terrible. If you have lost all hope, if you believe the only thing you need is a hysterectomy at this point, don't do it before making an appointment with Horizon Fibroids and my guy, Dr. Wilhelm. HorizonFibroids.com. They accept nearly all medical insurance, but you can check it out and make an appointment on his website at horizonfibroids.com. RealityNetwork.tv. Do you want to see exclusive clips of the Sarah Fraser freaking show? We are about to move from YouTube. Yes, part of my show will still be out on YouTube, but now you will be able to exclusively watch behind the scenes what goes into this podcast and the creation of my talk show and my interviews on realitynetwork.tv. Sign up for a subscription using the code SARAH. SARAH. You're getting $10 off your subscription. You can do monthly, or if you use that code, you can get an entire year's subscription for just $69.99. It's normally $79.99, but boom, code Sarah gets you $10 off whether you do monthly or the yearly subscription. I'm not the only incredible talent there. There's like Searching for Sasquatch. There's so many amazing, entertaining shows there. So check out realitynetwork.tv. I'm so proud. I made that huge announcement yesterday. I've heard from many of you. Congratulations. And it's just the beginning. I can't wait till TSFS is a talk show with a studio audience. And it's on and popping, honey. We're going to have crazy things going on in my show. Remember Howard Stern back in the day? It's going to be like that. But like a little more evolved Howard. You know what I mean? I've always been Howard Stern meets Oprah. It's a little of that. Maybe we can do baloney anal ring toss with 90 Day Fiancé cast members. Anybody remember that segment on Howard on E! News at night? That was so good. He'd be like, all right, and now line them up, Gary. And all the women would come in. They loved Howard. They loved, oh my God, and Artie Lang. Oh, Artie used to be one of the greatest talents. Okay, well, stay tuned. We're going to be doing, we'll probably be having presidential candidates and then baloney anal ring toss. And now the way our presidential candidates are going, they might be contestants in the anal ring toss, plus then running for office. They might not even be separate at this point, baby. So love you all. Thank you. All right, doubling down with the Derricos. Let's get into it. Deon and Karen did a surprise divorce this past month. Now, for a lot of people that have followed this show and have messaged me, it isn't a surprise because drama, financial issues, bankruptcy, foreclosure have followed this couple for a very long time. If you are not familiar, Deon Derrico was just recently cleared, I'm talking just a couple years ago, of a 2014 charge that he was accused of real estate fraud. He was cleared, but did have to file bankruptcy and has since given interviews where he says he's now terrified of the legal system. And he would actually say that he himself would judge other people who had been criminally charged, that they're, criminals, all this stuff. But when he was falsely charged, as he was, he says it's been a terrifying experience. Now, where does this all stem from? Well, Deon and his business partner, started back in the mid-aughts doing real estate. Remember like the big real estate crash of 2007, 2008? Probably many of you are like, yeah, yeah, bitch, we can't forget. Okay. Our parents' houses still aren't worth what they used to. Well, so he's been cleared of all those charges, but he and his business partner had this company where they were buying homes, flipping homes during the aughts time. They were doing rentals. Well, two people came forward during that time and essentially said that Deon and his business partner forged their signature on the sale of their deeds, like a whole bunch of shady shit to get them to sell their homes. All right. And that's where these charges were brought. But Deon has been cleared. So he was charged with forgery, theft, and false representation, according to a criminal complaint filed at the Nevada Attorney General's office. Derricos was accused of taking over properties that were flipped during the recession through quitclaim deeds in which the embattled owners would sign over their names. A quitclaim, for reference, allows a homeowner to grant their property to someone else. The homeowners in Deon's matter had no idea of transferring any property to the reality TV star because he allegedly forged their signatures on the quitclaim deeds. The doubling down with the Derricos' dad was accused, along with his partner, who notarized these deeds, by two homeowners, one of whom, according to his wife, was dead at the time of the deed creation. However, things started looking positive for Deon in 2018 when, after 4 years, no more victims came forward, making the case fizzle out. In April of 2018, Deon was cleared of most charges, excluding two, which were eventually dropped last August by his partner. But his partner, Brian, pleaded guilty for notarizing the fake deeds and was duly fined. Deon had claimed that he was attacked because he came from a well-known family, and that Deon's father is apparently a well-known contractor in Detroit in real estate, has been for a long time. And Deon revisited his tumultuous experience while talking about his TV show. The father said that more than 10 production companies had gotten in touch with him to give the Derricos their series in 2013 after the birth of their famed quintuplets. But he says that he thinks fame made him even more of a target in this real estate fraud case, which he never went to jail for, has been found innocent for. All right, so there it is. But some other things have plagued this family. One being the sudden passing of his brother, Chris Turner, who passed away at the age of 53. A lot of fans wanted to know what happened, if he would speak more about it, because Deon and Karen, obviously, with 14, by the way, they actually have 15 kids. I'll talk about that controversy, have all been about family and Deon's mom, Gigi, being on the show. Well, what about more details of the passing of Chris Turner? There aren't any that we can find. Okay, so a lot of people want to know what happened. He was supposed to be on the show. He never did appear. The other thing is that the Derricos, specifically Deon, had adopted a son, Darren, right before meeting and marrying Karen and before they started having their own kids. Darren, as of recent, as of everything I can find, has been estranged from the family and has not even met some of his younger siblings. Now, the interesting part here is, a while ago, he had actually accused Deon and Karen of taking out a student loan and credit cards in his name while he was in high school without his permission and knowledge. So they actually have 15 kids, 14 that you see on the show, one being over the age of 18 now. So their whole custody agreement when Deon and Karen got divorced is really for the 13 children. But people are now wondering if Darren's going to come out and say more. In the past, he's wished his family well, but has not been on the show and been estranged from them. He was adopted, as I mentioned, by Deon before he and Karen really got into it. And now we see very little. So people are sort of bringing up that controversy seems to have followed this family. There's even discussion that Deon and Karen's marriage allegedly was fake for the reality show. I don't know. That seems like a big one. They were together quite a while. But they are now divorced, and the future of the show is sort of up in the air. Although I have to imagine that this controversy is going to help their ratings. He'd be like an ideal guest for me, honey. Like, I want to sit down with this man because we got a lot going on. And they don't have much money, apparently. They don't have much money. They have filed for bankruptcy in the past, foreclosure. So It's going to be interesting, but definitely a story that continues to get a lot of press attention. We'll see how it all unfolds, but certainly a fascinating family and wanting to be on TV. Okay, there you go. I watch sometimes, like I've said, it's not my must see show. I am oddly addicted to polygamy shows, Seeking Sister Wife, Sister Wife. Mostly because I know I'm never going to be a part of the lifestyle. So I think you're always like attracted to what you don't have. Just a thought. All right, let's get to Fresh King Benjamin. Ben Brown, Kody Brown's nephew, is hot, red hot on TikTok. This man is getting thousands of followers by the day because people are very curious for his take. Now, he's been on TikTok for a hot second, Ben has. But Ben recently announced he's going to watch season 19 and give all his commentary. And he also just did a recap on his TikTok. That's where he appears. He's going to be doing all these recaps and telling you behind the scenes. So if you haven't followed him, Fresh King Benjamin is, I want to get him on this show. I'm so fascinated. He is anti-polygamy, says he grew up in a similar sister wife situation. It wasn't great. Doesn't sound like he has much contact with Kody now. He's a comedian. It just seems like he's done a lot of work on himself and kind of full circle. And one of the things going back and watching season 1, episode 1, he talks about is just how phony the whole, love should be multiplied. That's one of their famous sayings. And he's like, no, it shouldn't. It's one of the most ridiculous sayings because, of course, that's just like leading to polygamy. He says that polygamous families, they can't take care of all the kids. They can't give them the emotional, physical support that they actually need. It's such bullshit. And then a lot of these men, including Kody and his father, this is according to Ben, just want to say they're dads, but don't actually want to do the work. Okay, well, looking like it's true. A lot of people are agreeing with that, including McKelty Brown. Now, McKelty and Peyton have their super successful Patreon. She just had her birthday June 7th, and McKelty says that Kody has not wished her a happy birthday in years and did not do so this year. Screen Rant posted a rant calling out Kody by a Redditor on their platform. Quote, as we all know, Kody claimed to have forgotten to call Gabe for his birthday because he was in the fetal position crying about his 99-degree fever, while later revealed by Robin that despite his near-death experience, he was very helpful around the house and making sure the kids were cared for while everyone was sick. McKelty's birthday was June 9th, and she mentioned that he used to make sure birthdays were remembered until the last few years when he, quote, forgets to call his kids on their birthdays and then share points to herself. And then she points to herself. The post continued, the one OG kid that still tries and has admitted in the past she puts in 3 times the effort with Kody and Robin compared to what they give, doesn't even get a phone call on her birthday. At this point, he doesn't seem to care at all. I gotta say, this for me is even a new low for him because the only ally it appears that Kody and Robin have is McKelty. And she's not getting a call on her birthday? Rough. It's gonna be a very, I do think this will be a make or break season 19 Sister Wives season for the cast. I do. Because now look, that's just my own opinion. I think it's going to continue to get a season 20. They've already shot that. The 21, I'm sure we're getting numerous more seasons. However, for Kody and Robin, like they have to show some sort of remorse, redemption. Like this was huge what happened with Garrison. People aren't over that. We're all feel like we know this family. And people have had it with Kody and Robin. So to me, I don't know. And it will be interesting. I really hope Ben, Kody's nephew, comes on because I think it would be good insight into does he just not care? Because there are rumors that he's just leaning into being a villain, doesn't care anymore. Now the other women are gone. He feels liberated and he's just with Robin and their kids and her kids, and that's it. All right. I promised you that I would do a breakdown of the interview that my friend Rachel Uchitel did with Meri Brown. Shout out to Rachel and Misunderstood. You should go listen June 10th if you love Sister Wives like I do. I have been trapped for 2 days trying to get back to LA from Maine, and listening to this interview was everything. It was so good. So Rachel was really fascinated on this interview, more with the polygamy lifestyle than all the nitty-gritty kind of dirt and tea that's happened over the past couple of years on the show. She certainly gets to some of it, but she really does an amazing job of breaking down the polygamy timeline. And the thing I did not realize, did everybody know this? I think a lot of you did, but Janelle's mom, Cheryl, was actually married. She was the third wife of Kody's dad. What? When? Okay. What? I did not know that. Now, I knew that Janelle, of course, her first marriage was to Mary's brother, Adam. Honey, I didn't know that the parent, this is like so incestual. Now, like Cheryl had already had Janelle. Janelle is not from Kody's dad, but isn't this like getting really, this is a little incestual. That's kind of wild. Anyhow, so Meri goes into detail about that. That was something that I had not known. And Meri does a great job of breaking that down. Also, how she kind of accepted Janelle, even though Janelle had been married to her brother and divorced. The polygamy part of it is very fascinating. Very fascinating. Some of the other things that have trended and I thought were really interesting were Meri talking about Janelle and Christine. Now, Meri confirms in her interview with Rachel that Janelle and Christine were never close. She's happy that they're close now. She goes on to say she doesn't know what brought them together, probably their mutual divorce from Kody. And she only runs into them occasionally. So we don't know. It sounds cordial, doesn't sound particularly friendly. Meri's okay with that. But that was fascinating to me, just that there is no reconciliation, even with Garrison's passing. Now, Rachel gets into that. Rachel does a great job asking her about, where's the family at? Meri reveals that she's spoken to Janelle and Kody. They're doing okay. They have good days and bad days. And that includes, she says, Kody too, that Kody is very emotional, very upset. She doesn't get into, and I'm sure this is more of a TLC mandate than Rachel, because I'm sure Rachel was wanting to go more into like what season 19 going to hold. Meri can't reveal, I'm sure, anything probably about season 19. So if Kody's more emotional or what to expect, but it was very deep, them talking about Garrison's passing and just where the family's at. So the other thing that Meri says in this interview, which I think cleared up a lot of speculation, is Meri doubles down in this interview, triples down that the show is very real. They have a very close relationship with production. And I've heard that to be true. In fact, I do know from a source that production was so upset by Garrison Brown's passing that they had people that wanted, that took time off. I mean, this production crew that had been with them had really seen these kids grow up and embedded with them. And Meri says on this interview, and the interview, so it's open, it's casual. I believe this. Meri says that 100% everything you see is real. They're asked to talk about certain things, but what you see is real. And she also says, so it's interesting. I thought this part was really fascinating of the interview. Meri says everything's real, but she also says that she has such a close relationship. They all do with production, that they really trust them and they know that they're not going to embarrass them. So that's interesting because it's almost like, well, elaborate on that. Does that mean like you're going after, to me, I thought Meri kind of opened the door a bit, like, are Kody and Robin saying to them, don't air that. All right, do me a solid. Don't air this. I'm just saying, I interpreted that moment in the interview a little bit to like, well, production knows what we don't want to air. And I don't know, is that good? Is that bad? It seemed a little to me like now the Brown family has a little bit of creative say into what the show is going to reveal, which may explain why we as fans are so frustrated and why the show is so far behind. Just saying. So those were some of the really big moments that I thought were excellent highlights. Definitely listen. It's a great listen. Meri says again, someday we're getting a Meri biography book. Meri talks more about the catfishing incident. That was great. Meri's so open and comfortable about it. So listen to my girl, Rachel Uchitel. We're going to actually be podcasting together again this week. You'll see us. We're watching the debates. Oh, honey, that's going to have like Super Bowl numbers. Trump and Biden. I cannot wait. I'm getting actual popcorn from the movie theater down the street. Like, get my popcorn ready. Like, I want to see what's going to go down. So we're going to do a whole breakdown too. You'll be able to hear that later this week on the show. Okay. Love you all. There it is. TLC Talk for Wednesday. Ooh, we'll have a brand new show tomorrow with David Yontif. Bye, everybody.